Yeah, he rolls up. I got all the cameras, everything ready to go. He's ready. He's ready for a meal. He's ready for a little.
He's always ready for a meal.
He's ready for a meal. So
just looking for a good hang.
And we never get anything done.
You're listening to Studio 22.
Welcome to Studio 22. I'm Brock O'Hearn. I'm here with my co-host, Will Meldman, and we are sitting with a legendary friend of mine, Aaron O'Connell.
Thank you.
Aaron,
you'll be here.
Happy to have you here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to continue the spiel of amazing things that you've done, but let's run into the podcast. Let's say, Aaron, you're one of few people that have done over 250 episodes on a single show.
Yeah,
that's a pretty small group, I think, of actors that are in that realm.
It is. Yeah, it's nothing that I could have ever planned or I feel like worked for. It's just one of those things that I was lucky. I was prepared at the time, and just kind of, everything kind of fell into place. And I think with a lot of, being on a show and then it becomes successful and a lot of people watch it. I mean, we wouldn't have a job if people didn't watch, what we did. And so it just kind of continued, and here we are. And 250 episodes later.
That's incredible.
It is.
The have and have nots.
The haves and have nots. Yeah. So Tyler found me. It's directed and written by Tyler Perry, obviously. And he found me, almost 10 years ago now, off of a Liquid Plumber commercial.
Yeah.
And it was one of those Liquid Plumber commercials. It was hilarious, but it got picked up on late night TV, and he was watching it one night and saw me on it and eventually casted me for the Haves and Have-Nots, and it was his first scripted drama series on OWN. And he was doing it in conjunction with Oprah, and he called me up, and actually I was flying back from LA, and he called me one day, and it said it was a blocked number, and so I didn't answer it. And I thought, okay, if it's important to leave a message, I didn't leave a message. Yeah, I thought, okay, didn't think anything of it. And then I get another call. My phone was still on silent from the flight, and it was my old modeling agency back in Indiana saying that somebody from Tyler Perry Studios wanted to get in touch with me for a role that they wanted me to audition for. And I'm thinking, why are they calling? I'm like, this is a joke, So I said, okay, all right, it sounds good. Go ahead and give them my number if they want to audition me. But I had an agent here, and I'm like, why wouldn't they, contact them? And so, long story short, they called me again. I answered. They said, Tyler will be calling you, or one of the production people will be calling you. And it was still on silent. So he calls me, and I didn't answer that. So this is like 3 calls that I've missed from the studio. And finally, he calls, and I was ready for it. He said, I guess people don't answer block calls anymore. And I said, well, no, it was on silent. And he said, I want you to audition for this role. I think you'd be great for it. So I auditioned for it over, it wasn't Zoom at the time, but it was at an auditorium, and he was in Atlanta with all of his people, and they would just kind of like watch my audition. And I thought it went great. I was like, this is, hopefully, I gave it my best shot. And he called and said, the audio is all messed up because there was this scene where I take off my shirt, and the thing had like flipped up, and it switched off my mic. And so here I'm doing this whole scene, and the audio is just all jacked up. Yeah. So I'm thinking, man, all that work, right down the drain, all that prep. And so he said, I'm going to be in LA in 2 weeks. Why don't you come up to my place? We're going to run through a couple scenes, and I want to see it in person. We're going to work these scenes and see how we can do. And so I went up there and did it, and came back. And when I was, pulling into my driveway at the apartment there, he called and had offered the role. And so that was 9 years ago.
Wow.
And that's how we met through him. And it's amazing how that it just kind of comes full circle. But
yeah,
I mean, who would have thought a commercial that I was actually not even going to audition for because the BCS National Championship was going on that night. The line was super long to audition, and I was the last one. And I'm thinking, man, I had all these people coming over to my place.
Got to catch the game.
Yeah, got to catch the game. And so I was so close to not even auditioning for that commercial, and then ended up booking that commercial the day that during that audition, the director was there, and they hired me right on the spot. So it was and that doesn't even happen.
Yeah, no.
Right. So it was one of those things that just kind of, Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? But
Yeah.
thankful for it. Thankful for the work. Thankful for the opportunity and the people that, I've met along the way.
Yeah, like you're saying, me and you, we met through Tyler, and we've had an awesome friendship since it. And I can tell you right now, I've never booked one audition that I've done with Aaron because we've laughed too hard doing that. But it's always a good time.
Well, you always bring the auditions. I mean, come on. I got my work cut out for me, right?
So do I. Oh man, I get the funniest auditions, dude. We so many laughs. So like, I can't even tell you the characters that I've had to try and audition for, and then Aaron's.
I can't even pronounce the characters that you've had to audition for.
Yeah, they're hilarious.
But I mean, it's sometimes the laugh is worth it though.
Oh yeah,
because this business can be so. I mean, it's just a constant grind. If you're constantly auditioning. If you're not at the top of the top, where you're constantly getting offers. Which, the industry's changed so much, even people that you would see, starring in so many, there's so much streaming media, a lot of those jobs are getting taken up or auditioned with that clientele. So, it keeps you working hard and keeps you trying to pursue every opportunity you can.
Well, you mentioned kind of always having to be ready. I mean, I feel like I kind of secondhand hear that from Brock as well. Like, obviously I'm not an actor, but it's interesting to hear because it seems like you never know which one could be the one that someone sees, right?
Right.
Can you speak to that a little bit of because one of my favorite quotes is from John Wooden, luck is opportunity meets preparation. Right. And I feel like that's such a good example in acting where it's you never know which one it could be. You just always got to be ready and in shape and ready to rock and whatever it is. Do you find that to be true?
I do because, myself as an actor, I'm just my package. I have what I have to offer, whether it's the skills of riding motorcycles or flying planes or being, really knowing my dialogue to the point where I'm not really memorizing it. I'm just responding, but I know what's written on the page. So I think sometimes you're going to get auditions where you're like, I'm not even close to right for this, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And I got to say, the majority of the time that I feel like that is when I book it. And I was working on a show called Heels. It's on Stars to play the dad of, he's one of a pivotal character in this show, second season, and Mike O'Malley is the showrunner of it. And he hired me, and I had this audition where I didn't think I was what they were looking for. This guy had a mustache. He was a bigger guy, very muscular. And I just thought, and I was playing the younger version of a guy that they had already casted and shot for these flashback scenes. And so, all I could do was control what I can control, which is the acting portion and the dialogue, and really just give it my best shot and make them pick me, because I'm so much better than the rest of the people that are there. I might not have the perfect look, but the hair and makeup department can do whatever they can do. I mean, they can do so much these days.
Yeah.
You see me as Hulk Hogan, bro?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it. And so, as stressful and as hard and as challenging as it can be, there's so much comfort for me in the fact that I can control just being the best I can be for everything that comes along my path, whether it's playing Wyatt Cryer in the Haves and Have-Nots, or playing someone in NCIS, or whatever it may be. So I feel like the preparation that you speak of really comes with just diving into the material, breaking down the material, and spending more time, even though it's just maybe 5-6 pages of an audition. Spend it like you're shooting it tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Treat it like a job, right?
Treat it like a job, because their auditions can be few and far between at times, and so you do have a lot of free time. But fill up that free time with preparing for these auditions. So, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. And if you don't get it, wow, look at all the experience and preparation you put the work into for your next job.
But it's just like that plumber job, the commercial that you booked. It's you don't know what the casting directors are looking for, or if there's other projects that you stood out to them in that audition, whatever it may be. You can book something 5 years from now because they happen to remember something you did 5 years before,
Right.
So there's really just leave it all on the table and give it everything you got. And to what you're asking too, one of my favorite things I've heard is from Denzel Washington. And he was saying, as an actor, you're only as good as your last job. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's an indie film. Doesn't matter if it's, a $200 million film. Doesn't matter what it is. You're only as good as your last thing. So give it everything you got,
Right.
And I believe in that too. And I've seen that regardless, it's sometimes not feeling like you're the best fit for something. And even when I booked Hulk, I was like, I don't feel like I really look like Hulk Hogan, And then all of a sudden we put a mustache on. I had a little butt chin showing, dude.
Yeah.
And like they gave me the tan, they gave me the bleach, eyebrows and mustache and the bald cap. I was like, whoever cast this is very good.
Well, that's why you let the casting directors do their job.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they can see things that you can't see. But I think, to your point, giving it your best, even though you don't feel like you could be a Hulk Hogan, you go in there and knock it out of the park. And I feel like no matter what film or TV show I do, I always, and this just happened. So I just filmed a movie called Made for Each Other in Canada. But I always, when I'm flying in, I'm geared up, I'm ready to go. I've got, my prep work half the way there. And then I kind of really dial it in, for the scenes that I'm getting ready to shoot. But I always want to take off from that airport, leaving that city, as I see the city below me, knowing that I left it all on the field.
Yeah.
Because I grew up playing sports. And so that's kind of like my field right there, right? And so I leave there and I took off out of Winnipeg, and I thought, man, it was a grind. I did a lot of dieting, a lot of working out for this role where I had a lot of shirtless scenes, and I was essentially this clay statue that comes to life, this Greek statue. I had to go to this 3D imaging place and here in LA where they do 200 cameras. They do a whole 3D body scan. They send it to Vancouver, make a life-size statue, ship it out to the set, and that was the statue they used for me to come to life. But they had my statue wearing this apron, it's so really all this work and prep that I had done, all this dieting, I was doing keto for 2 months. I hadn't had a gram of sugar for 2.5 months. I mean, I was probably in the best shape of my life. And I thought, man, I wish the lighting was I wish they had the light here, because a lot of it's about lighting. You can be in great shape, but if you don't have great lighting,
how many movies have you seen with the actors that are not in shape and they light them and you're like, how is he so shredded, dude?
Right.
Every time.
And I thought, you know what? This movie isn't about so much as that, but more about the story of this character. So I had to kind of recalibrate my thinking on that. But I thought, man, all this work that I did, I initially thought, man, I really didn't have to do a lot of that. But I thought, I'm glad I did, because it put me in the headspace that the character needed for this role. So it wasn't so much about the look, but it helped my performance and really pushed me in the scenes and do a lot of improv and a lot of stuff that, I could do on the fly that a lot of directors don't, they don't want to have to waste the time to do. But once I found the groove of the character, I was able to just kind of fly with it. And a lot of the stuff that they, I'll see the cut, but a lot of it I'm assuming that they would use because I feel like it really, helped the character. I mean, I think, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like being in that great a shape can never hurt, right?
Yeah, no, I mean,
it definitely never hurts.
Yeah, I feel like, when you're in good shape, you're eating right, I feel like you need less sleep. I feel like you perform better, your memory, your
focus, productivity.
And you're just happier. I think you have better energy.
Yeah, and especially when you're on camera and dude, I did this. I've had the same thing happen with the show I'm working on right now, and I've been pushing, thinking I was going to have this, big shirtless wrestling scene, and then I don't think I am. But I've been training for 2.5, 3 months now, doing the same thing. But it's still, I'm walking in there feeling confident that at least I did the work, and regardless if they're going to use it or not, I still feel good.
But you know what? You could have an audition come in.
Exactly.
That where you're in this great and they need somebody right then and there. You just never know.
And it's Hulk Hogan, so it's no matter what, you're going to look back at this period and be like, I was in the best shape of my life for Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Slight chance I'll have sleeveless shirt, So.
There you go. And they're running the Hulk Hogan episodes during NFL Game Day. I mean, it's prime time. Prime time slots.
Yeah, they're great slots, dude. It's NBC, man. They're really incredible. It's The Rock too, So
it's who?
The Brock is playing Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, no, he's got his hand in everything. That's great though. It's a great one to be a part of.
Yeah, very grateful to be part of. And Heels too. I mean, Heels is an incredible dude. What a well written and shot show, man.
Yeah, it's
and the talent on there is incredible.
The attention to details, they bring it. And I feel like when you're on set, my scenes weren't with them in particular. I was with the younger version of them because I play their dad.
Yeah.
But they just add this whole level of, energy. What?
I'm just remembering, you remember I had an audition for that?
Yeah,
I got a call back for it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you were saying earlier about how, you might not be you might not feel like you're what they're looking for.
Right.
Well, let me tell you something. On this piece of paper that I had this audition for, it could not have been more me.
Right.
It literally said 6'7", long hair, hairy guy, wrestler look, like the whole thing. Even the scene was written that way.
Yeah.
Did it, got the call back, did the call back. Everything was going really well. And then all of a sudden I get the call and they went a completely different route.
Yeah.
Nothing like me, but great cast on their part, dude. Great pass.
They just, a show like that, and Mike O'Malley, he is so attentive to detail that, he knows what he wants out of the scenes. And like, you could feel like you're giving a great performance and he'll just throw a couple different ideas your way that'll completely change the trajectory. So when it comes to the editing room, they can really piece together how they want these scenes. But
it's great.
I mean, the set deck on that, the show itself is so well shot. The cinematography, I remember coming into Ted Turner's office, and they have all the old TBS broadcasting, station stuff. So I walk in, I'm supposed to have a meeting with Ted Turner.
No way.
And they have every little thing sitting on the counters to the news that's being played is news during that time.
I mean, the Masters, they have all that stuff.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so, and it really puts you into that character.
Oh yeah.
And the other cast too was just so, when you're shooting scenes, if they're giving you everything back that you need in the scene, and they're giving it their all too, it just makes that scene much better, and it makes it easier in a sense.
So much easier. Yeah.
You're not really acting. I mean, you're just being present and listening and responding. And but yeah, it's fun, man. It's a.
I'd love to see a scene with you two. I think we need that.
I don't know if we can get through it. We be laughing all the time.
It would have to be a comedy or something.
We should.
We do our own Tropic Thunder or something.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder, but action. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that we could do.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that I think, coming into Hollywood that any young actor or dreamer really would want to do, especially like a young guy. Me coming in, I always wanted to, even though those aren't necessarily my dream, they aren't my dream roles, like the superheroes, the big action star, like I would have fun with that the rest of my life, man. But then also I've fallen in love with drama and telling those stories and deep rooted, like emotional stories. But to like our point is something we've always talked about is like some Navy SEAL, special force, like mercenary, something where we get to have a lot of fun, a lot of action, and like just do what we love, but also together. And so, obviously, never going to stop working towards that dream, and maybe something in the pipeline, but it would be a lot of fun. It'd be a blast.
I feel like I've played not everything, but other than that, but all the stuff that I've done has been like either light drama, romantic comedy, heavy drama, drug addict, alcoholic, so down a pipeline that I would never think. And I'm like, it'd be great to do something that I feel like would be right at my alley.
You're saying that, then I'm thinking about mine. Dothraki, Hulk Hogan. Like my list is ridiculous.
God Squad.
What was the one where you like? This is the kind of audition. Like I got to read opposite of this. And I'm doing these lines, and he's got to flex and bring
Flex Montallo.
I had to have my wife come. I'm like, Natalie, you got to come read this because I literally can't even get through the first two lines because he's got to. I mean, you were flexing a tree branch down to.
Dude, my buddy Devin Long booked that, dude, but yeah, like
so he must have been able to get through it.
The whole thing is Flex Montallo. His superpower is flexing, and then it like can bend and can move things or whatever. So he's like, there's like a tree stuck in a cat stuck in the tree. and he flexes, and then the tree bends down, and he gets it. I have to like act this whole thing out, and then on top of it, his outfit is, and obviously I wasn't wearing this outfit, but it's like a spandex leopard Speedo, dude. Like it's this, like what is this guy, dude?
Yeah,
hilarious.
So that's what I get on the other side of the camera, and
Yeah.
He's wondering why I can't be serious, but
Wonder why I didn't book that one. No, man, but shout out to Devin, and he killed it in that role too, and he was perfect for it. Like I definitely don't think I would have been the greatest cast for that one. I probably would have been laughing the whole time.
they would have taken a 2-minute scene, had to be like a 3-day shoot. Man,
but those are so fun, dude. They're so funny, and looking back, as long as you get a good laugh, I'm having a good time with it. So, because sometimes I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, I think you rode down on your motorcycle in like 30-degree weather with rain, and you roll up.
I went in,
and we gotta flex a cat off a tree.
Yeah,
so.
hour and a half drive, and then we don't finish till late at night because it's such a long scene, and then I ride back freezing like.
Well,
why am I an actor?
He rolls up. I got all the cameras, everything ready to go. He's ready. He's ready for a meal. He's ready for a little.
He's always ready for a meal.
He's ready for a meal. So
just looking for a good hang.
And we never get anything done.
But it's so funny too because I don't remember why I rode the motorcycle. I think my truck was in the shop and I didn't have the other car yet.
No, you couldn't turn the wheel without grinding the wheel well.
Yeah,
that was it.
So the motorcycle it was.
Yeah, and unfortunately the 405 had a couple turns on it, so that wasn't an option.
And just so cold, but like. I normally I got that out of the shit. Normally I'd at least run it in the car on the way there, and if I have to look quickly, I'll look and then do my thing. But you don't have that option on the motorcycle.
Learn his lines for the first 3
driving
for the first 3 takes.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
You got to do what you got to do.
Luckily, there's a few techniques I've learned over the years that have helped with that.
Alpha Brain. You take
Alpha Brain.
Alpha Brain.
Yeah.
That.
I took Alpha Brain Black.
Yeah.
Took it to the next level.
First time I took that, I knew my lines, the other person's lines, and the person's lines wasn't even in the scene. I was like,
Guys, I'm going to fix a couple things here.
The Limitless. It's like Limitless.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. No, there's a couple good supplements out there that help with your focus.
Yeah.
Caffeine can be one of them, somewhat.
Couple of these, and you're unstoppable.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's good stuff. Put a little hair on your chest.
That's right,
dude. He's like, I called him, and obviously I was going to grab everyone coffees this morning, and I called him.
Thank you, by the way.
Of course, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, and he goes, just grab me something and puts a little hair on my chest, and then we start talking, we're laughing a little bit. A couple minutes goes by. He's like, all right, man, I'll see you in a bit. I'll be there at 11. And then I go, wait, broski. I know you said get someone to put some hair on your chest, but what do you want? It's like black coffee.
Just black.
Just actually stop at the gas station, get some diesel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That'd be great, man. But no, acting's a lot of fun, man. I look forward to the day we get to do something together. Hopefully, all of us get to do something together.
We'll have to do it. We'll have to do it.
Yeah.
Even if if you got a good script and a good cast, I mean that's the golden ticket. If you got an okay script and a good cast, you can make it great. Yeah. And if you got a bad script and a bad cast, you come with a positive attitude. You never know what can come out on the other end.
We should do like a comic. We write a comic together, and then that could be like our storyboard blueprint.
Oh, there you go.
Dude, you know what I'm saying?
There you
if
go.
You're into it, man.
Oh yeah. That'd be great.
And one thing about Aaron as well is that he briefly touched on it, but we've gone up and flown around a little bit. He's a pilot, man. And
you casually dropped that earlier. I do this. I'm a pilot. I'm like, I wanted to like stop and expand on that, but you were like rolling.
Yeah, no, that was a goal of mine. I've always, it's kind of in my blood, my family. All my uncles fly. One's a fighter pilot. One flies commercially. My cousin flies as a fighter pilot, and when I was shooting the haves and have-nots, I had this time off where I really wanted to get my pilot's license. And I had started a little bit, but if you don't continue kind of keeping up with the training, you have to repeat all these lessons and it becomes super expensive. So I went to the flight school in Santa Monica and I said, I got 30 days. Can I get a pilot's license in 30 days? And they said, well, we've never had anybody do that, but you're going to have to pretty much train every day if you want to do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So I signed up, got all of my flight lessons and all of my ground school all on a calendar and did it every single day. And then I took my FAA written exam, my FAA oral exam, and then the flight portion of it, and ended up being the fastest to ever go through the flight school out of Santa Monica and have my license in in 30 days. So
That's crazy.
that was crazy. I mean, yeah, it was something where, you're training in these Cessnas that, I mean, the doors are popping open during steep turns. You got, you do a landing too hard and your window will pop open, so these planes aren't necessarily, for the faint of heart.
F1 fighter jets.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, it's very old school, but I feel like if you don't learn on something that doesn't have all the, the latest tech, then if you ever have to revert back to standby instruments, you're kind of, you don't really know what to do. I mean, you kind of do, but you're not experienced in it. So in hindsight, it was a great way to learn. And then after that, I ended up getting my instrument rating, so you can fly in, all sorts of weather, and then high performance endorsements to fly high performance planes. And then, now I got a Cirrus that I keep down in Torrance, and that's kind of my, if the traffic's out of control, I'll pop over. I actually did that for an audition in Burbank.
Oh, did you really?
Flew over to Burbank. Took 6 minutes. Yeah.
No way.
Took 6 minutes, and then I grabbed an Uber from the FBO at Millionaire right there and went to Warner Brothers.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
the only actor ever.
No, I highly doubt it. But probably the only actor that wasn't working at the time. You know what I mean? I'm like at the power pole all the way back, checking my fuel gauge, making sure we're not burning too much fuel.
That's actually.
You guys only got a couple hours
awesome.
at the FBO. If we can speed this audition up, I gotta get back.
Yeah. No, it's just been a passion of mine. It's one of those things I'd always wanted to do, and it was kind of a dream come true. Tyler was working on getting his license at the time, and he had a Cirrus, and he wanted it flown back out to LA because he wanted to train in this airspace because it's one of the hardest airspaces to learn in.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so, he wanted to do that train. So I flew with his instructor, and this is before I had gotten my license, and thought, this is the plane that you got to have. I mean, it's full glass cockpits. You can fly every instrument approach. It's got a parachute system on it. It's a great aircraft for general aviation for, just whether you want to do long. I mean, I fly it all over the nation, but if you want to do short hops, through California, it's a great plane. But that's kind of how I picked the SR-22.
One of the coolest things I've seen you do with that is what you do with the dogs.
Yeah, Pilots and Paws.
Pilots and Paws, yeah.
Yeah.
This is cool. Check this out.
That's one of those things where I was flying around, and I thought, instead of just spending money in fuel and not just for my benefit, how can I give back? And I found this organization called Pilots and Paws where I could fly animals that are either going to be put down or euthanized here in Southern California, and fly them to a shelter, or fly them to their forever home, or fly them to, an organization that's going to give them life-saving surgery. And so I started doing this, helping out with this organization, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, there's so many animals out there, dogs, cats, you name it, that are so, much worse off without kind of lending a helping hand. And I thought, gosh, let's see if I can make this, a hobby, and make this a passion of mine that I can really give back. And I started helping out with it, and it's amazing how many people would reach out to me, and just the countless animals that I've been able to save, all while doing something I love, has just been tremendous. And then Cirrus Aircraft saw that that's what I did, and they flew their whole team, this aircraft manufacturer of the aircraft that I fly, and they highlighted I had a videographer and a whole team of their people come fly with me in their brand new state of the art SR-22 G6 turbo. So that was fun to fly. They're hot off the press. I mean, this thing had like 20 hours on it, and I got to meet just an incredible crew out there, and they got to ride along and kind of see what we get to do. So
did you tell them?
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you tell them there's room in the hangar if they want to leave the plane?
I said, shoot, I could scoot mine over a little bit, and we could or we could do a swap, because mine's a 2009.
Yeah,
so it's gosh, it's hard to believe it's 12 years old. Every couple of years, I try to outfit it with the latest stuff, because the airframe doesn't necessarily change as much. It's the tech inside. So I've kind of kept it up to date over the years. But
I'm pretty sure he spits, shine, cleans it once a week. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, you could have breakfast off the wing if you wanted. Yeah.
Where are some of the? I mean, first off, that's got to be some of the best, most fulfilling karma ever, doing that for the animals, and spending all that time and energy on their behalf. Like, where are some of the places? Is it mainly in California, kind of popping around, or?
Yeah, I typically do mainly California, just because I'm based out here. But the organization is all over the nation. So,
wow.
So there's basically this forum online where all the pilots can connect, and the sending organizations can reach out to us pilots directly and say, hey, I've got a dog in Torrance. It needs life-saving surgery up in Santa Rosa, California. There's this vet that's willing to do the surgery, and he's got a bunch of students that he's willing to do it pro bono and teach the students at the same time.
Wow.
So that was I flew a dog up there, and he was in bad shape. I mean, he was like chained to a pole, and he was outside, and he was so emaciated. I mean, it was sometimes it's tough. It's hard to see an animal like this, and you think, how could anybody treat an animal like this? And but it's amazing. I think it was like an hour and 15-minute flight. And I typically fly below 10,000 feet for oxygen, so it's comfortable for them. And I land in Santa Rosa, and
it's pretty low, huh?
It's pretty low. Yeah, it's pretty low. It's more comfortable for them. And plus, you never know what's going on inside, so you want to have the oxygen, the saturation as high as possible. Huh. So I pulled up, and like they had the whole vet. Everybody was out there waiting for me to get there, and it was just a quick transport to the medics there, and then they fueled me up while I was doing that, and I was back in time for lunch. I mean, it was a small thing to do, and it's amazing the bond. I mean, as soon as I opened the crate, or as soon as I let them out, these animals never want to leave my side. Even if it's like 20 minutes, they look at you like, okay, now what are we doing?
They can tell, man.
They can tell. They can tell your health. Every single one of them. Yeah. So sometimes I'll get texts or emails and pictures of updates of the dogs that I've saved.
Oh, hell yeah!
And that's pretty rewarding too. So, but again, it's a small thing to do. Not only to do what I love, but to help out and meet people. I mean, that's just like acting. One of my favorite parts is meeting people. In this organization, there's a lot of great people doing a lot of the same things, and meet a lot of pilots and see a lot of cool planes. So.
I mean, I'm like huge dog lover, have been my entire life. So I really think that's awesome. I know, like, obviously I have Penny running around here somewhere. But like, yeah, my mom and I have always kind of bonded over dogs our whole lives. Like, we've had, dogs at every period. But yeah, I'm sure she's listening right now and really like stoked for you doing that, and excited and grateful that you're doing that too.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be in an opportunity to help, Yeah.
So what is next for Aaron? Besides, actually, I want to touch on this really quick. If you like, we're not live, so we can always edit things out.
Saturday night recorded.
Broski, how's the dad life?
Dad life is good, man. Dad life is great. No, we don't have to edit this out. This is it is, they say you don't know what love is until you've had your own child. Mm. And I don't know if you want kids, if you don't want kids, but for me, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it was 100% true. And having a 5-month-old, you realize that you can function on absolutely no sleep. And so there are times when you wake up and I'm going to feed him at night. I bang my shin on the bed. I cut the corner too quick on the door jamb and just rock myself to kingdom come. And I walk out there and I get ready to feed him, and the top of the bottle's not on all the way, and it's pouring everywhere. And you're just like, how can this happen? How can it go this bad in a period of 30 seconds? And my eyes are completely dry, and I'm still not even awake yet. And then finally I got to turn the lights on. I'm like, shoot, now I got to wake him up all the way, which means I got to rock him back to sleep. And it just becomes this whole thing. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm feeding him now. I finally got the bottle squared away. And then he looks at me and then he smiles. And it turns that whole thing around. I mean, it is amazing what a smile can do. It's like just leaving today, because I'm the jokester. So he'll just look at me and start laughing. And he just really started getting his barrel laugh going, where he's like figured that out. And it makes parenting so much more rewarding, especially when it gets tough. But also relationship wise, if like having a kid really tests your relationship, because you have to be on the same page. You got to communicate. I mean, there's no real time to be, not communicating, not on the same page. And, well, I changed his diaper earlier, so it's your turn. You just do what you got to do to make it happen. And so if you and your significant other or partner is on that, it makes it that much easier. If it's not, it just makes it that much harder. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, my wife, she, just going through the birth experience itself is just an absolute miracle. Seeing just life being born is incredible. I mean, it's a miracle. So, I mean, she did it, without an epidural, all natural. And I'm sitting there just holding her hand, and she's going through something tougher than I've ever done in my entire life. It's, I'm like, I was watching a home video, and I looked like a wreck, and she's in the hospital bed and she's feeding Avery. And I thought, man, I'm just like tired and I'm exhausted. And I'm thinking to myself, I have absolutely no room to complain, and she looked great. And she's, it's just,
Natalie's amazing, man.
She's incredible. I mean, I'm so fortunate and lucky to have found, that person, because it's so difficult, especially in this industry. It's so difficult to find somebody. I feel like these days,
definitely,
with social media, and just to find somebody that loves you for you and does things because they want to make you happy, they want to live for you, and vice versa, and they challenge you and they say, "Well, I know you like this, but what about that? I hate doing that." Well, just give it a try. Let's do it. And if you don't like it after 10, we'll do something else. You just go through life together as a teammate, and I feel like that's hard to find these days, because everybody's either looking for the next best thing, or, it's hard to get out and meet people. And, but yeah, I've the way, we met through a charity organization, which was that was a kind of, I wouldn't say lucky, but it just, I don't know how often that happens these days, where you actually meet somebody face to face. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that are successful on the dating apps, and but I personally would have been terrible at that.
Yeah.
I think. So I feel like I met her at the right time, but here we are 9 years later.
Shout out to all the moms out there. Just absolutely. You go through, like you described beautifully, something men can't understand, but we appreciate it. That's for sure.
That's for sure. And the bond that they have with their, she'll have a bond with our kids and Avery now that I'll never have, and the way that he looks at his mom. And, then here comes the lunatic dad coming in, like, what's he up to, but yeah, man, I'm just so thankful and fortunate, and just feel truly blessed to be, there's no better job than being a dad.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. For those of you who don't know that are listening or watching right now, if there ever was, in my mind, a perfect couple, it would be Aaron and Natalie.
Oh man,
two of the greatest peas in the pod,
Well, I got to come back then. I mean, put a little pep in my step here.
We should maybe get a little pep once you hit your shin on the coffee table in the morning.
Oh man, I tell you what, by 4:30, I look like I've been through the ringer, and I haven't even accomplished anything. I haven't done anything successful.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
No, but you guys are honestly like. I still remember the first time I met Natalie and sitting there and listening to her talk, man. She was like a doctor.
What did she see in a guy like this guy?
It's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, great. How did Aaron end up with you? No, just kidding. No, honestly, dude, you're the salt of the earth. Natalie's incredible. You guys are two of my favorite people in the entire world. And we've had some incredible experiences all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, your wedding in Lake Como, Italy, when I was
nice.
Hopping around on some crutches.
The only guy in our wedding photo with the boot. I mean, this guy, he just cruising around Italy, Greece in a boot.
Yeah,
it was classy. Very classy.
Like a week after I broke it, dude. It was the most painful thing I had done. One of the most painful things I've ever done. But it was absolutely worth it, dude. To see that, to see you guys get married, and how beautiful it was. Like, there were so many perfect moments on those trips, man.
Yeah, best times of my life. I mean, having that experience with some of my best friends is just something that I will cherish forever. I mean, going through these wedding videos and just laughing. I mean, it's just, I feel like I'm there, you know, you feel like it was yesterday, but, gosh, I mean, I'm just thinking about, you know, so many.
Yeah. Do you remember when Ryan was pushing me in the wheelchair through the museum at Apollo's Temple at the bottom, and there's this big ramp, and so I'm in a wheelchair, and obviously, and he's pushing me around, but there's this big ramp, and at the bottom of this ramp, there's this massive statue, just this beautiful thing. It's been there for thousands of years, you know, or it's been built for thousands of years now, sitting in this museum all protected. He pushes me down the ramp with no brakes. And so I'm flying full speed at this thing, and the ground is slick. There's no, with no brakes, I just lock up the wheels, and then they just keep sliding the same speed toward this thing, and he has to run and grab me, and he catches me right before I hit this thing, and I'm like, Broski.
Just say wherever Brock is, he makes his mark.
Oh my God.
Apollo's Temple's never seen that before.
Let's not do that one again.
You would have been smited real quick.
Yeah, that would not have been fun.
Yeah, they issued a whole new set of rules and regulations after that trip. Let's just say tourism. It's a little more restricted after that.
Yeah, man. But just all in all, dude, like, you know, Natalie's dad's speech in that was incredible.
Yeah.
You know, like Haley Reinhart singing, coming out of basically looked like out of the ground, the two swans flying in the background.
That was incredible. I mean, we had practiced our first dance to Haley Reinhart's song, and you know, we went to Arthur Murray's dance studio. And first of all, dancing is not my thing. I mean, I can fake it, and it still looks like I have no idea what I'm doing. So I really can't fake it. And so we had this dance instructor. We're going, you know, week after week.
I'm laughing because I've seen it. I know.
Yeah, it's that good. And so, you know, it takes me like 3 classes just to master 30 seconds of a 2-minute dance. I'm thinking, how am I going to get through 2 minutes of this? And I'm thinking, well, if we just do like 15 seconds and repeat it, might be able to do it. So
put it on loop.
Yeah, the instructor, you know, she comes out before you know, she's got her right leg sit right here. You know, she's doing all this. I'm like, oh, I don't have a hamstring that won't get torn, something like that. Yeah. So anyway, we toned it down a little bit to something that was doable, and we had this first dance prepared to Haley's song, and it comes time to doing it on the, you know, this. I mean, the backdrop was just insane. It's just like chateau, and I thought the DJ was gonna, you know, play the music, and Tyler, as a wedding gift, had, amongst many other things, obviously, had flown her out to sing it live with this piano player and fireworks in the background at Lake Como.
Yeah, and nobody knew.
So
we're all facing this way, and then all of a sudden you hear someone's voice and starts singing the most beautiful song you ever heard in your life. You turn around, it's Haley on the stage, the piano player to the side, like fireworks going off, the water of Lake Como in the background, and then these 2 like swan fly in and land right in the back and just swim in the background. I'm like, that couldn't have been more perfect if you had tried.
And meanwhile, I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, 1 step forward, right back step, okay, then a little pirouette here, okay, do that, check that out, and then I got this whole, you know, element, and I'm like, you know, everything went out my mind. I just freestyled it. So
incredible.
That's why it looked.
It looked great, dude.
Did it?
Oh, it was incredible. Dude. The dance with your mom, man, and just. I just remember there was one moment where I was looking around, particularly at Nick Sagar, and there was just a river coming down everyone's face, man, of just how happy everyone was for you guys. Man.
Yeah, you know, and it was in Lake Como, and getting people out to Lake, it's not cheap. A lot of people saved up, and it was going to be their family trip for the year. And I just was so thankful that people made the sacrifice to get the babysitters if they didn't want to bring their kids to make the trip. My hope was that they would leave there just remembering it for the rest of their life, having an experience that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And I think the pictures and the videos, I mean, it's just
so good.
It was
he rolled
incredible.
up.
It sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Natalie rolls up like on a horse and carriage, like Cinderella, basically beautiful. And then Aaron comes in on the water like James Bond, dude. On the boat. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
This guy that rowed the boat, it was one of those wooden old Italian boats,
like a standcraft, like a
yeah, exactly. And so I'm getting ready to hop on, and he goes, "Oh, hold on, just a second." I go, "What?" He goes, can you take your shoes off? And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll take them. Yeah, absolutely. So I take my shoes off and he puts me in the back, so where I can see. So we do a nice little cruise around and there's seaplanes. Remember the seaplanes were taking off and they had seaplanes going. And of course I was in heaven. And so we're taking a couple laps and then we pull right up and I saw the wedding party, off in the distance. And I thought that's when it really set in. Like, this is happening. All these people are here. Everybody's come so far. This is I just got to enjoy it. No stress, no anxiety, no nerve. Let's just do it and have the time of our lives. And that's what we did. I mean, it was,
dude, you guys are like, this is literally like a fairy tale wedding. It's crazy. It sounds amazing.
I've seen all the movies, man. This was better than the fairy tale wedding.
I was going to say, like, the end of the rom-com with the fairy tale wedding, like, that's what you do, right? Like, that's the script.
But you know what? It wouldn't have been what it was without having, all of our friends. Just an incredible group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so fun, everybody from all walks of life. And there were, Bennett, my friend Bennett.
So funny. I was going to say that.
Yeah, we'll have to send him this podcast because he'll get a kick out of this. I mean, he doesn't travel a ton. And I don't think he'd ever traveled internationally. So when he went to go book his ticket, I don't know, I think he flew United. He went to United.com, said he needed to go to Lake Como, enter, and bought the ticket. Well, 15 stops later, I said, hey, how was your flight in? And he goes, it was great. I got to see Switzerland. I got to see Rome. I got to stop in Iceland. Never seen Iceland before. And I go, what? Why did you go to all these places? He goes, I was just connected. But I go, there wasn't I'm pretty sure there's a direct out of O'Hare, wasn't there? And he goes, oh, I didn't look. But he got to see, but you don't know what you don't know. I mean,
so funny,
he is hilarious. I mean, that guy, I love to death. He is one of the funniest. If he comes out to visit, he would be a great guy to have on a pod.
Oh, he would be so good.
He would be
so good.
Direct out of O'Hara.
Yeah,
it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
He got there 16 stops later, dude. I was dying.
Yeah.
Oh, I was dying. Meanwhile, I used all of my points that I ever had. It was like 175,000 points to fly first, lay down in bed to get there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sleep the entire time. I'm like, this was the whole point of getting this, so I could sleep, get there. But it was amazing.
The first time I flew first class, it was, I think it was business class. It was on the A380, and I did not want to sleep because of all the snacks. I didn't want to miss any experience.
I love how you know the model number of the plane, too.
A380.
Broski.
And so I got to my pod and I was like, people were still boarding. I had my whole thing laying flat. I mean, I was using all the buttons. I was watching movies. I was using pretty much everything for the entire flight there in the first 15 minutes. And when I got off that flight, I felt so sick because I had eaten sushi. I had done all the wine tasting. I had eaten every thing of cheese on the flight. I had on the cheeseburger. I mean, I was just sick.
It's like a little kid.
There was only one person that Qantas lost money off of, and that was me. I'm telling you right now. They're still looking at why they were in the red on that trip. But
oh man,
yeah,
that's so funny.
One of everything.
One of everything.
Yeah, dude. No, that was a trip of a lifetime, man. And I'm so happy for you guys. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to meet Avery, man.
Yeah,
what a little stud.
He's a stud.
That's a good looking baby.
He's cute. I feel like everybody has their own. Everybody thinks their own baby's the cutest, which I completely understand. But yeah, he is cute.
He's up there, bro.
Yeah, he's pretty cute,
and he's got these mitts too, man. He's gonna be a big boy.
He's got big hands like his dad.
Yeah. Be throwing the old pigskin around in no time.
That's right.
I definitely want to ask, like, what's in the pipeline? What do you got coming up? That type of stuff.
That'll be quick because there's nothing. I'm just auditioning. Yeah,
dude, that is one of my favorite things as an actor.
But it'll be good to hit because everybody. I'm not one of those people that just is going to make up a whole bunch of.
That's one of the funniest questions to me as an actor because when people tell me that and I've got nothing going on and I'm like. So here's the thing.
I'm auditioning, yeah.
But it's kind of like, it kind of makes sense though, because it is, you go like here, then here, then here, then here, and things pop up like so randomly all the time.
Exactly.
That it's like,
it's not a job that you do every single day and then you get a raise and then you keep going
unless you're actually like
on
something at the moment. Right.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like,
or if you have stuff in production or stuff like that. But if you're typically just an actor that and you're auditioning and looking to get booked and stuff like that. It's you work for a couple weeks, a couple months at a time, and then you're off and on and off. And
I love that about it because you're on set for a while, even as a producer, you're on set for a while and then you get a break and then you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've got, fortunately in this business, some consistent clients and some, producers and executive producers that I've found that I consistently work with. But, I was fortunate to be on the Haves and Have-Nots for 9 years. I mean, that just doesn't happen to go shoot 250 episodes.
It's incredible.
I mean, I feel like whatever I'm going out for, there isn't a whole lot of people that I'm going up against that has that same experience. Now they might have more Instagram followers. They might have been in bigger stuff, which is great, but that just means I'm going to have to work that much harder and put good material on tape. And, there's going to be times where you get so close to something and Reacher, for instance, I'll hit that real quick, to be, the main character's best buddy for season 2, to be a series regular, which would have been kind of like the Haves and Have-Nots, where it's a reoccurring thing, like you just mentioned. And I had this incredible audition with a lot of high up people that make the decisions. There one was with the executive producer of Top Gun, and I had just seen Top Gun, and when you get to that level of auditioning, you see like the backgrounds of these people's homes that they're in. You're like, these things are, it's big time Hollywood stuff. And I thought, what, I'm not going to be nervous. I'm just going to go in there and do the best I can, because I am at this point in my career for a reason. And I've just done the best I can every step of the way. And that's all I know what to do. I wouldn't be in this spot if I wasn't meant to be here.
Hell yeah.
So I did it. I did it, and they Nick Santor, he was, it felt like it went really, really well from my point of view. You never know what they're thinking behind the scenes, but again, you just do the best you can do. Took a couple weeks of deliberating, didn't end up getting it. I'll be interested to see who they got, but that was a good experience under my belt to kind of get to that level, experience what it's like, but everybody puts their right shoe on. Everybody puts we're all the same. Nobody gets to where they got without some sort of help. Yeah. No matter if you're a superstar or somebody just starting out. And, that role just wasn't meant for me. Maybe it was it shoots during a time where I might be booking something else. But right now, in terms of my career, I've got some ADR for some films that I've done. So, but basically, this whole new year is going to be kind of a new endeavor of auditioning and getting myself out there into new casting directors and hopefully booking a series. That's going to be my goal. To get on a series is, especially after just wrapping up another movie, I'd like to kind of get on a series, play the same character, and see what I can do with that.
I bet you're really enjoying, especially after 9 years on a show, just the time with your son.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, something is going to come up. It could be tomorrow.
Right.
Like like you said, you have all that experience.
Yeah.
Like you guys are both so talented that it's like you're both very humble and grounded with the approach. But like for me, it's like, things pop up all the time. and then before you know it, you're on the next thing.
No, you bring up a great point. Like if I would have booked that, then I would have missed the most pivotal time of, my son just being born.
Right.
Like I couldn't have planned, so in my head, a lot of people get, this industry's so tough, it's so cutthroat. And what takes the stress out of it for me in my head, the way I think about it is 10 years from now, I'm going to be right where I'm supposed to be. So all I got to do is the best I can do, and I'll end up right here. It might be a stressful time, but what takes the stress out of it? I'll be right where I'm supposed to be. Just do the best you can. So
that's one of my favorite things or quotes, I guess, that I heard more or less. But I always say I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
For whatever that reason is, wherever I am at in my career, in my life, my relationships, whatever it is, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Now, realizing why you're there and where you're supposed to go from there, what you need to work on, who you need to become, like whatever you need to do, that's a little bit different conversation. But when it comes to the stress of those situations and you're so close to something big or that big break or hoping something better happens or whatever it may be, I'm here for that reason, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
100%. I mean, I feel like that's the way to live. And no matter what industry it is, you know, as long as first of all, life's too short not to be happy. So if you're out of balance, whether it's relationships or work or, you know, whatever it may be, you know, if I'm, you know, flying too much and Natalie's kind of like, you know, where are you going today? You know, got to recalibrate it. Date night on Wednesday night, maybe do a short. Keeping all that balanced makes me happier, but it makes those around you happier because then you just become a better version of yourself. You know, you reach out to your friends more, you try to connect more, you know, pop on Call of Duty more and just chat it up the boys, you know?
Yeah, it's you're all of your buddies, man. John, Bennett, Connor, everybody. Are so fun on Call of Duty. Just the jokes, the camaraderie, man. The good times.
Yeah,
it's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, that's really why I'm terrible at it. But I jump on because of the laughter, and it's just a good way to connect, especially all over the.
It's fun getting
Terrible.
on there.
Do you play too, Will?
I play sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll pop on.
Okay.
It's fun. Like you said, it's like you get a little action in there.
Yeah.
It really is, especially in a city, you know, as big as this, or friends across the country, you know, that you don't get to see as often. It's like doing a phone call, except you guys are having a little action, you know, you're doing that whole thing where you get to catch up with your friends, you know?
Yeah.
And during the pandemic too, it's like no one was doing anything. So it's really like a form of socializing at night, you know, where it's like you can actually, like you're saying, talk to your friends and hang out kind of.
Right. No, I know. I mean, like I haven't seen some of these guys back in Indiana where I'm from, I haven't seen them in years, since my wedding. You know, 4 years ago. And
yeah, it's true. Wow.
We all hop on and we just pick up right where we left off. I mean, it's a great,
you
know, we're lucky that we live in a time where we can do that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not, a lot of times it's not so much about playing the game. Sometimes we'll just be in that lobby and just be talking for, you know, a while. It's just catching up.
Did you start the game yet?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
As funny as it is, it does feel like you're actually hanging out.
Yeah.
In the strangest
that's
way.
important. I mean, you know, I think social for human beings in general, having that is such an important part to our mental health.
Absolutely.
You know?
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you so much for having me here and for the coffee.
Yeah.
Put a little hair on my chest.
You're looking a little hairier already.
There you have it.
I really, really appreciate it. It's
Thanks,
awesome.
Will.
Yeah, thanks for the time, man. You're welcome here anytime. And let's get a lift in soon, broski.
Let's do it.
Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.